This is the Tectonic one-year overview reading for the year of 2025. It's currently Friday, October 4th, 2024, 2:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Tonic at the time of this reading is 7 zeros after the decimal point, followed by a 6979, and that's USD. The shuffle video for the Tonic reading for 2025, it was created on June 9th, 2024 at 5:20 p.m. Eastern Time. In these one-year videos, what you can expect us to cover is going to be the overall trend direction for the year throughout 2025, any important chart behavior that takes place. We're going to cover the peaks and troughs of each quarter, and then we'll give you one of the best trades that we see for the year. The remaining information is all part of what you get as part of the total access subscription, or if you buy a custom 1 year, and that'll be the timing of the highest high and the lowest low, as well as all the other trades. It's important to understand that the chart behavior that we go through, you have to give it plus or minus 2 weeks of wiggle room in some readings, and not all, but that's the reason being is that each card represents about 2 weeks of time, and not each card's energy will necessarily line up with 2 weeks of time perfectly, but the sequence of events as outlined by the prediction will remain accurate even if we do have plus or minus 2 weeks of wiggle room here or there. So remember to follow the sequence of events, and if you're going to trade this information, make sure that you're trading based on the chart behavior for the highest highs and the lowest lows, or the chart behavior for the peaks and the troughs, and you're not trading based on price level. You want to look for the chart behavior around the general timing as your entry and exit when trading SO meta analysis. All right, let's get into it. The overall theme and behavior for Tonic in 2025, we have a pretty bullish year. It's going to be bumping along resistance sideways the majority of the year, but we'll probably break through at least once. So it's going to be bullish overall, but a lot of that behavior will be up against resistance. It's crossed with a rally on a 1 year chart scale into key resistance that we declined from with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down. Usually with the Strife card, you've got these spikes up will meet moving averages as their resistance, and the moving averages will be in bearish formation. Usually behavior around the high side, we have a huge move to the upside standing out on a 1 year chart scale minimum, pushing the upper end of a range higher again on a 1 year chart minimum. That'll take us into the high. So when you're trying to determine where the high is, look for that type of behavior around the lowest low. We have an important peak within close time proximity to the lowest low for the year. Likely there's more than one low. When you see this, it'll be like a move higher out of a low and then a move back down to the low. Not all the time, but what you can count on is seeing this prominent, somehow important. It might be like the first new high after a reversal to the upside, or it might be like a new peak of some kind. That's what you're looking for near where the lowest low is. There should be a rally out of the low as well that will offer opportunity to open up a long position or close a short, which indicates that we probably see the same low more than once, or we see consecutively lower price levels at some point. We'll look at that in more detail as we progress. All right, so when we look at it from a multi-year standpoint, we declined from resistance, we declined to and through support to meet another support, rotated sideways. We're around the 2024 card, we're around the futility, but since we haven't quite done anything to the upside really in 2024, my sense is that there is a pretty substantial move to the upside coming for this, and that would make a lot of sense. The Aeon card, we've got this decline to and through support on a multi-year scale. To meet another support, we rotate sideways along the support. If you look up the worry card on our website, Tarot for Traders, so you can go to our website, Tarot for Traders, click on tarot cards. After you sign up, it's free to sign up. Click on the worry card, which is the 5 of discs, sideways consolidation into conservative position. See, it's not something that just I throw out of nowhere, right? This is actual information you can go and verify with the chart. So my sense is that there's this move to the upside out of a trough that we're out of a low that we have, and you can say kind of circle that off into some erratic behavior, and then there's this big move pushing the upper end of a range higher. On a multi-year scale, we likely see a high around this. So that's where we are on the grand scale of things on the multi-year. We'll look for a big move into a multi-year high. It might not be an all-time high. From a multi-year chart, it'll really stand out as an important high. So in the first quarter, it looks like we've got some pretty mixed behavior early in the first quarter where we rally into key resistance and then decline off of that resistance past where the rally started into an important trough almost midway through the first quarter. Matter of fact, there's this move out of a trough to a peak on the cusp of January, February, some erratic behavior there, and there's that 2025 card that we were looking for, right? Erratic behavior in a prominent position. There's likely a high here for the quarter. There's likely a high here mid-quarter, and then we should decline again into lowest lows towards the end of the first quarter. Opportunity there I'm going to talk about at the end of this public video. Early in the second quarter, pretty notable move to the upside out of that trough on the cusp of the first and second quarter. Notable move to the upside. I'm advised not to chase that into a peak that takes place mid-second quarter, and then we decline pretty notably there into a trough towards the end of the second quarter. We do sideways rotation as we enter into the third quarter. There's a pop and drop into a peak early in the third quarter, another move to the upside to another peak mid-third quarter, an important peak there around the mid-third quarter, and then we got some pretty back and forth behavior as we get into the end of the third quarter, and then early in the fourth quarter, we've got a sharp drop off of a key resistance, taking us into an important trough, and out of that trough, we should see a breakout on a multi-year scale, taking us into a peak mid-fourth quarter, followed by another significant move to the downside into the end of the year. I'm advised that there may be a higher price level in 2026, but there's a significant decline on a 1 year chart scale that'll take place at some point throughout 2026. Now, I'm going to give you one of the best trades that I see for the year, but before I do that, let's take a look and see how we did for 2024 thus far. The shuffle file for the 2024 Tonic 1-year reading was created on September 25th, 2023 at 6:50 p.m. Eastern time, about 6 months in advance of it. We're still using it today. Let's take a look and see how we did. This was done so long ago. I expect there to be some sort of error in here because I've gotten so much better since then. I've done so many. My God. Okay, so we had a lowest low thus far that took place in February. You see that took us into a peak. It wasn't a highest high, but if you cancel out the very beginning of the chart, which in some cases you need to do with the 1 year, it's just they bleed into each other. Either way, we get into a highest high there and then back into a lowest low by, or close to a lowest low by March, really like April, and that's at plus or minus 2 weeks of wiggle room, right? Usually these cards going left to right across the screen, these pairs of cards, our timeline card, they represent about 2 weeks of time, but I mentioned that not each card's energy will line up perfectly with 2 weeks of time in some cases. Follow the sequence of events, but so far we're on pretty much track here. Another important trough taking place around May, which actually I probably had it for May, June. That's pretty solid there, and then there's a little bit of a move to the upside. It's not to a highest high, so that highest high is off back into lowest lows there around August. We were pretty solid on that, so there's more lowest lows ahead. You can see the overall theme here is also going to be this big move starting out of a decline from the bottom of the range all the way to the top of the range on a 1 year chart scale. Likely there is going to be a pretty big move to the upside. That truce card there as the high for 2024, interesting that it appears first thing here in 2025, and we do have possibility of highest highs here at the end of the year. It's a little tricky when you have one of these like micro cryptos where it's like not even like it's not even like 100th of a percent of a penny. It's such a micro move. Trying to do this detailed of a reading for it can be extremely difficult, but we should see a pretty big move to the upside. That lines up pretty well with our multi-year, right, where we're expecting this big move after some erratic behavior, this big move into a high on a multi-year scale. Overall pretty solid. We were off a little bit, but sometimes even when we're off with the highs and the lows, we still have pretty solid trades. So there was a trade here. Okay, so at this March high, we would have opened up a short position and held that short position into a trough here in May, or May, June, you should say. And that here in March, we've got this high, we'd opened up the short, and then we would have left a little on the table, but May, June is where we would have gotten out, probably right here, right before this little lip, and that's kind of how it goes, you know, before you make a mistake or something like that. So that was a pretty solid trade. It would have been pretty lucrative if you had a substantial amount of tonic in a short position. I mean, there was a ton more trades. All that stuff, part of the paid version at the time when these were coming out, anybody that had the custom version of this, or they had the total access subscription, had access to all of the trades, not to mention they had access to our Discord trade alerts and our live updated trading view charts that we started doing towards fourth quarter of 2024. All right, so let's give you one of the best trades. In the first quarter, what you could do is we're going to meet this key resistance that takes place early in the month of January. After we'll rally into it, and then it'll be almost like an immediate reversal. There won't be a lot of sideways behavior at that resistance. We'll just kind of turn around and decline, and we'll go past where the rally started as far as how far down we go into a lowest low thus far towards the end of the month of January. That'll be off of the high of the January high. So the January high likely in the early part of January. When we're into that trough around the end after a sharp decline through multiple supports into a lowest low thus far for the year towards the end of January, you could open up a long, close that long, probably right on the cusp of January, February. If I'm wrong about that, just wait for some erratic behavior back and forth to take place in February, because in the midst of that, there'll be a high there. It'll be a highest high thus far for the year, and it'll likely be the revisiting of a crest that was recently a past opportunity. So maybe the same price level as early January, or there might be a crest from the end of 2024 that we're revisiting. It'll be like a previous opportunity, recent opportunity, and recent on the scale of like a 1 year charts, like a couple months usually within the same quarter, you know. Guys, you can learn so much more about how to read these charts as part of our university that we're launching in 2025. It'll be the first of its kind, a metaphysical intensive course that teaches you how to read meta-analysis. Really what it teaches you is metaphysics using the stock market, so that you can really benefit from this information more so than just the average person, and really become very good at it. Benefit from my experience. We're launching that soon. If you're interested in that information, guys, email us on the website, let us know, and we'll get you set up with some information. It's going to be very exclusive. Depending on how many people there are, we'll determine the price for a whole year, but you're getting exclusive. It'll be just the group, the class. You'll get exclusive Zooms where we talk about these things in depth, how to read them and what's happening. Might even help me determine what tickers we're going to be covering regularly. Might even help with the second edition of the book. All that stuff as part of the university. So that's one trade. There's another one. So when we visit a crest, you could open up a short and close that short at a lowest low thus far somewhere in March, most likely towards the end of March or on the cusp of March, April. So that's two trades, guys. There's a ton more as part of the paid version, along with the timing of the highest highs and the lowest lows and any type of price level information that we might see. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. It really helps out the channel. Most importantly, my friends, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You know where to go, you know what to do. Blessings to all my angel investors. I will see you guys on the next one.